I was saying when we were looking at this that I think Republicans and Democrats, they're pretty much the same to me.
They're showing the Democrats as about 8 out of 10 tyranny, and they're showing the Republicans about 6 or 7 out of 10 tyranny. And what's important to understand is not so much that they're saying Republicans are in the green and the Democrats are in the red. What's important to understand is that they're so damn close to each other to begin with.
Yeah, it's true, and I'm saying they're even closer. Where would you put the Republicans and the Democrats, assuming we both agree that they'd still be close to each other?
If you're talking...
like a number on the scale?
Talking mainstream Democrat, mainstream Republican, before the existence of the neocons, before the existence of the progressive liberal socialist movement in the last 15 years, 20 years. On the scale that we have posted, like we said, Democrats are about an 8, maybe Republicans are sitting at about a 7. I would have to take them both probably down a notch or somewhere in there. I think that a normal just go back, well, it's hard to do ever since Kennedy's assassination, but if you go back to around the 60s, the 50s, you find a much healthier balance of Republican Democrats. So it probably puts them a lot more in the middle of the road.
Sure.
Maybe Republicans are 5 and Democrats were 6 or something like that.
You know what mistake all these polls make, all these charts make, is they put, since Democrats and Republicans run the mainstream, they assume that they're middle of the road kind of things.
And that's the thing.
But they're not. They're clet closer to the top on the scale of tyranny.
Especially in the last 50 years.
Especially, yep, and accelerating more and more, especially in the last 10 years.
Now let me throw a curveball at you. You asked me the question, where do they land? Let me ask you the next.
Yeah, I wanted a number.
I gave you the 5 and the 6 and the 50s. I think where they're placed on that scale right now is accurate for today, 2011.
So it's between a 6 and a 7? I would venture to guess. No, let me say that the Democrats right now, the Obama administration, the whole thing, the whole crew. I'm telling you guys, they're like a 7.5, maybe an 8.
You know what's funny is if individuals are worse than the whole. I would give Obama, Nancy Pelosi, Harry Reid a 9, but the Democrats as a whole, because you're going to get some good Democrats.
They
too.
haven't actually created the outright fascist
that's
state.
Why that's why I give them a 7.
But none of this fascist state, police state crap would be possible if you didn't have Democrats and Republicans continuing the agenda. So that's why I put them very close together. And now
every time you hear a president get elected and say, "I'm looking forward, not backward," you realize that you're progressing the police state.
Exactly. Don't look back, because
God forbid we actually prosecute criminals.
Yeah, there's some stuff we don't want you to see back there anyway. So don't look back. We're looking forward. Obama's good at saying that, and gee, I wonder why. But then below that, did we ever explain where the libertarians are on there? I think we did.
No, though I got a question for you before we get to libertarians.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, place the Green Party, place the independent centrist people.
What?
The mainstream media would have you believe that people like Ralph Nader are centrist.
Well, they're closer centrist than a libertarian. No, there's no freaking center. Okay? That's the thing about this chart. There's a center of this chart. Just because it's in the center doesn't mean it's a good thing.
The beauty of this chart is that if you think of it as water, as fluid, think of tyranny as depth of water.
Yeah.
You get about halfway up the scale of tyranny, and guess what? You're drowning.
Yeah, you're drowning already. That's exactly right. So that's why libertarian, they even have libertarian in the red down here, because they consider that to be, drowning. Or not drowning, but not enough water. And so, but just above that where it gets green, I would extend that green down. I believe society can function with a lot more government than this chart allows for.
You mean a lot less?
Yeah, definitely a lot less, if I said more. It should be a lot less government than this chart allows for, and the libertarians would still be in the green where they are.
Hey Barry, tell us about your Muslim faith.
My Christian faith?
Yeah, there you go.
My agnostic faith? I'd love to tell you about my agnostic faith, but we just don't have time. But the libertarians are there on the bottom, above anarchy, below Republicans on the scale of tyranny.
I agree with you, but I'm going to say it a little differently. You were saying that you would extend the green bar lower to include the libertarians.
That's correct.
I would take the libertarians and give them a rank. No, we're talking about tyranny. Okay, if I'm gonna assign a number of tyranny,
it's not a scale of left or right, people.
Yeah, this is not about politics. This is about tyranny. This is about which political party, what % chance that they're going to put you in a concentration camp.
Well, it's more freedom to less freedom.
Yep.
Is what it is.
More
basically.
freedom to less freedom.
Although it gets a little more complicated at the top and the bottom, because obviously in an anarchy you're going to have certain freedoms that you think you have, but are going to be taken away by other people having too much freedom.
The biggest gun's going to win.
The biggest gun's going to win. Warlords, yeah.
But let me just insult the person who made this chart real quick and just say that it's their viewpoint that the less government involvement, the more dangerous you are politically. They've clearly outlined that, and
we clearly don't agree with that. Yeah.
I agree that the bottom of the chart, the part where it says anarchy, is a very thin red line. It's not a 2-inch red line. It's a very thin red line.
Well, I would almost venture to take it a step further and say on chart 3 here, what we have is you could almost take communism, fascism, and not put them at the end of the spectrum. I'd put them outside the spectrum. Remember our old circle? There was an inside circle and an outside circle on chart 2, I think it was. You could do that with this chart and take anarchy and throw that out of the spectrum and put that below the scale. So because you could never have actual total anarchy, and you could never have actual total 100% police state in theory. So
I could, if 10 out of 10 is government-sponsored murder, I don't know, like shooting an unarmed man in the face.
Well, then the Democrats and Republicans would probably have to be in there.
Yeah, and then complete anarchy as a 0 also represents anarchy, no law enforcement at all, no government at all, so your neighbor is shooting at you and killing you. So both ends of the spectrum represent death.
Pretty much, they don't represent survival. I mean, that's what the green area idea would be good for, is to put like where society can safely function and successfully function.
But look how brainwashed we are that we believe that.
What?
That we believe total. Let me give you another example of total anarchy. 1750, when people lived on a farm 18 hours from their nearest neighbor. That's anarchy. They had no laws other than feeding themselves and surviving. It's a fallacy. They try to feed you this fallacy that the less laws there are, the more likely you are to be dead.
But I want to say that anarchy, though, Troy, anarchy I do not advocate. I don't think anarchy works because of the fact that it would be the biggest gun. It would be the warlords who controlled the society. And who's going to control anarchy but globalists are going to take over again.
I agree. But what I'm trying to point out to you is that we used to, in this very country, live basically anarchistic lifestyles.
The Old West, the Wild West, you're right. I'm glad we did this. I think it's brilliant because the left and right thing is really just
archaic.
It's archaic, and I think it's designed to obscure something. And I'll be darned if this isn't it. That there really, all that matters is how close is it to liberty and freedom. And by the way, total freedom, anarchy, different than liberty.
Liberty, I think, defined means what are you allowed to do under the law.
That's right, yeah. Like freedom is just that, freedom, whatever you want to call it, running naked.
Freedom is what is given to you by, rights are what are given to you by God. Liberty is what is given to you by government.
Can I have another shot at what freedom is?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
You're running naked through the town, you're eating a block of cheese,
Raging
right? You're smoking 4 cigars of 4 different flavors. You're doing this all the while you're driving in a car at 125 miles an hour and through parking lots, by the way. Oh, that's enough. That's enough freedom for now, but fun to do. Well, tell me, what's your freedom? Go!
Raging hard. That's it. The final question, the thing that we've been avoiding all along, is on a scale of tyranny, 1 to 10, how much tyranny are you going to give libertarianism? How much tyranny do they score on a scale of 1 to 10?
It's a 2, right?
This scale is a 2, but how much do you give libertarianism?
Well, I don't disagree with 2. I disagree with where they put the green. I think the green should extend down, but I still think it's a 1.5 or a 2. It's probably closer to a 1.5.
I'd give libertarianism a 1, and I'll tell you why. They get 1 point because nothing's perfect. They get 1 point because they do believe in allowing the states to make their own laws.
Yep. So they believe in laws.
They believe in laws. They believe in government.
So that's not freedom. That's liberty.
Yep. They believe in federalism. They believe in the Constitution. They believe in reasonable enforcement of laws.
In general, we're talking about.
There's definitely some soft tyranny involved here.
You're going to get some attempts at law, or some attempt at government is going to end up in taking away rights. Anytime you're making government, making laws, obviously rights are going to be taken away.
But in the most minimal sort of way, so that's why I give them a 1. And as you said, I 100% agree. The green should extend down all the way to about half.
Yeah, I think not only should they extend the green down, they should also take it away from the top. So literally move that green section down. Because, like you're saying, to the middle of this scale, to be middle of the road, you're still drowning in tyranny. You're still supporting a system of tyranny. So that's red. And at the bottom, yeah, that green should be all the way down, just above anarchy.
I think as a society, we can survive at 5 and down.
Where are we now? Our country.
That's the problem. Right now, this country is floating at a 6.5.
6.5.
Because we're right between Republican and Democrat.
That's a good point. And if the country is voting for Democrats and Republicans, which clearly they are more than independents or anything else.
Right now, we're a 1.5 feet over our heads. We're drowning.
Yeah, we've been drowning for a while. Ever since about the 1860s, we have been drowning.
I don't have that much history. Mine's only for the 1900s, pretty much. I would just say from the beginning of the Fed and the beginning of the IRS and all that, that's pretty much when we finally went underwater.
Where did this country start on this scale? Chart 3.
I believe we started at 2. No, 1. We started at a 1. No, we started at anarchy.
That's
so
true,
we started at complete war.
Yep, that's right.
And then when we got we finally set up a government, which is slow building.
Actually,
soft
take it back.
tyranny.
Can take it back one step first. Before complete anarchy and war on our soil to fight the British,
we started out at 10 out of 10.
We started at 10.
We started out at a.
Well, it wasn't a police state killing everybody tyranny.
No, but
there
it
were
was
massacres,
it was a police state. We had military kicking indoors. We had taxation without representation.
Yep, that's
we had
10. Yep.
The Boston Massacre. You had literally a monarchy shooting citizens of a sovereign land, claiming to be a sovereign land or whatever, or about to.
Yeah.
I suppose we hadn't actually claimed that yet. Maybe it wasn't 10 out of 10, but it was a 10 out of 10 back then.
One thing I'm thinking of now too is they didn't have representative government through England. So where is representative government, and where is the line on the chart where it ends? It obviously has to be.
It's from 1 to 5 somewhere. That's my opinion.
No, it can't be, because Democrats and Republicans, who are part of that supposed elected government...
But they've taken away our right to be represented by putting in organizations like the EPA and all those other organizations where we have czars making law without going through Congress. Now they're trying to pass a law where Congress doesn't have to approve the nominations from the president anymore, trying to get rid of checks and balances, separation of powers.
Streamlining government.
Streamlining tyranny is what it is.
Streamlining tyranny, exactly. So wherever we are on the tyranny scale, Troy, we must have moved up a tick if that goes through.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, we're about 1.5 feet over our head. And let me ask you, how long are you going to survive 1.5 feet underwater?
Well, the world record's 13 minutes.
And I'll give you one up. I'll give you a scuba gear set. I'll give you
That's the thing. That's the thing is we have all these fake, phony fixes
that
politicians
welfare.
Can pull, and stimulus packages.
Yep, you got welfare. You got all these things.
They can only last for so long.
Yeah, they're nothing but scuba tanks, and eventually you're going to run out of oxygen underneath this water, and you will drown.
Yeah, they're going to be down there going, "We need more. We need more air, more air." And they're going to finally we're going to run out of air.
Well, that's what's happening with gas prices right now. People are starting to say, "Hey, I need a little more air here. I can't breathe. This is starting to cut into my food budget and cutting into my rent, and hey, I got to put gas in my car, but guess what? I got a bad tie rod, I got a bad axle, I need new tires, I need new brakes, I can't do that, my blinkers are burnt out." And what's ending up happening is people are going to buy bicycles. You've heard it here first. Put your money in Schwinn.
Yeah, and all bike companies, definitely, and probably ones made in China, huh? Since we don't make anything in America anymore.
China and Japan. Well, Mike Rowe recently testified in front of Congress, and he was pushing Mike Rowe. That's the Discovery Channel, the voice of Deadliest Catch, and the host of Dirty Jobs. He's pushing the fact that we need some sort of basically a propaganda campaign towards the rest of the world, stating how ready, willing, and able and highly trained the American workforce is at hard work, at dirty jobs, at getting things done with our hands, being carpenters, being plumbers, being electricians, being
when there's a disaster
laborers.
In the world, who do they call? Who
they
helps
call us.
them? Yeah,
they call us. And right now, the belief around the world is if you need something done, you need hard-working, down and dirty workforce people, you go get yourself a sweatshop over in China or Japan. Like I said, the rest of the world doesn't understand that. They don't know that the American people are ready, willing, and able to go to work. We have a certain, we'll call it on the scale of tyranny, we have a lot of tyrannical people who don't want to go to work. And what we need the world to understand is that we are ready, willing, and able. If you give us a car factory to work at, we'll work at it. If you give us an iron mine to go mine iron ore in northern Minnesota, we're going to go work at it. If you give us a real, honest-to-God job where we can provide a service, manufacture a product, give the market something that it wants, we're going to go to work, and we're going to produce it. We always have, and we've always done it better than everyone else.
Who invented the television?
The United States of America.
Who invented the flushing toilet?
United States of America.
That's all I got. Who invented the stealth bomber?
United States of America, hopefully.
That's not the best example. Well, Troy, thanks for coming on the show in studio. I think we really accomplished something today.
Thank you.
I feel good about it. No more left and right. No more Republicans and Democrats confusing you.
The scale of tyranny.
Yes, now it's the scale of tyranny. And now you're messing with a son of a bitch. And a whole bunch of them who now know about the scale of tyranny, who hopefully will pass it on to their friends and not buy in. Not buy in to a scale that allows for taking away civil rights and starting wars under false pretenses just as a mainstream thing. That's not mainstream. It's very high on a little something that we're now going to call the scale of tyranny. Final thoughts, Troy?
All I have to say is if you don't believe in the scale of tyranny, you need to shut up and make me a sandwich.
Yeah, and go to the airport. Like I told Pennell, go to the airport with a smile on your face and pretend you're in a free country. Because damn it, you're not. You're above 5 on the scale of tyranny, which means it's almost over for all of us. Thanks, Troy.
Thanks, Barry.